Cozy Adventures. This week, as we're starting to move into spring, today is daylight savings time. I am focusing on molecular and musky fragrances to kind of shift into some lighter scents that'll be nice in the warmer weather, but also are nice in cooler weather. Today it's like in the middle. And so I have Juliet Has a Gun, and I have Molecule 1, and I have Glossier U, and I have Finery I'm a Musk. And the two that are just one molecule are Juliet Has a Gun and Molecule 01. And Juliet Has a Gun is Cetalox, which is a ambroxan, which ambroxan type of molecule, and it's not just amber, but it's ambergris, which is this like kind of salty seawater plus the like warm, slightly spicy ambery skin scent. So it's all just one molecule, just that Cetalox. And I wish I had the Juliet Has a Gun Superdose. I think it's called Superdose or Extra Dose. I think it's Superdose. So I could smell it even more strongly. But yeah, it's just this really subtle, airy. I'm not sure if it's this one or a different ambroxan that's in Baccarat Rouge, but it reminds me of that. This sort of ambery, sexy, airy, salty thing going on, but very light in texture. Yeah, and I guess it does a little bit of wafting in the air, but it really is such a very light texture, at least to my nose. And then Molecule 01 is just ISO E Super, which is a little bit warmer, woodier scent. Kind of creamy, cedar woody, a little bit powdery sweet, like a very subtle sweet skin scent. And same thing with this one. It's very, very subtle, at least to my nose, and also has a little bit of wafting going on, but is mostly very close to the skin. So people aren't likely to notice it unless they really like sniff you up close. But I really like and find sexy Molecule 01. Hi, Cozy Adventures. Continuing on with my Musks and Molecule fragrances that I'm exploring. And I started with Juliet Has a Gun, not a perfume, and Molecule 01. Both of those are just one molecule fragrances that have this musky skin scent thing going on. And then next I am looking at Glossier U, which has, Juliet Has a Gun is a kind of ambrox scent, but it is, let's see, what's the molecule called? Cetalox. And Glossier U is ambroxan, and they're just slightly different chemicals, I think. And then Glossier U also has pink pepper and iris and ambrette seed, which is a really yummy really yummy ingredient, I think, in fragrance that gives it more of that warm, subtle, sexy, sweet skin scent. So I have that one on. I would really love to try Molecule 02, which is ambroxan, to see what it's like just by itself and compare that to the Cetalox. But I don't have that, so I'm using the Glossier U. And the Glossier U to me is this like subtle, sexy, slightly ambery, slightly ambergris-ish sea salt, but less salty to me than the Cetalox. but the pepper really sticks out for me, especially when I sniff up close. When I'm further away, it comes together in this very subtle scent that I still really like. And then I also have Finery I'm a Musk, which people compare it to another, I think it's another 13. Let me double check. By Le Labo. Yeah, which is also a scent that has these like musky, it has the ISOE Super, which is what the Molecular one is. It has Cedalox, and it has Ambretolide, and it has Ambret. So perhaps this has all of those things. The notes listed are not necessarily what chemicals are actually in it to really understand. It does have a little bit of that pickly, sandalwoody, or whatever chemical it is, but mostly sweet and sexy. Hi, Cozy Adventures. Continuing on with my Musk and Molecule fragrance exploration, I have samples of all 4 of the Glossier U fragrances. And I just talked about the original one, which is mostly ambroxan with some pepper, a peppery note. I think it also has iris and ambret seed, which give it some added sweetness to the skin scent, subtle sweetness. Yeah. But yeah, the pepperiness does stand out in that one for me. And then I did talk already last week in my plum fragrance exploration about URev. And URev has plum in it. It also has a buttercream note, which doesn't really smell like buttercream to me. It just smells a little bit densely sweet. I can't remember what else is in it. It might also have iris in it, but it's the sort of closest to a gourmand scent that the Glossier U fragrance lineup has. And I really like it. It has this sexy skin scent, but it also is more sweet and thicker than the other ones, but still has a airy muskiness. It's not like super thick plum and buttercream kind of smell. It does have a musky skin scent thing going on. And as it wears on my skin, the plum lessens a little bit, and I think the ambret seed steps up, and it just gets a little sweeter and a little bit airier as it goes on in the wear. But I really like that. It's one that I'm considering getting a full bottle of. And then You Do is, what is it? It's the ambret still and the ambroxan, but also has some resinous stuff, frankincense and myrrh, and some like, I guess, a little smoky woody with Palo Santo, but all of that's very subtle. I didn't really like it on paper, but on my skin I really like it. It almost smells to me like the original U, but without the black pepper. So just more of a subtle ambery skin scent. So yeah, actually I'm surprised I really like it. I didn't like it that much on paper when I first smelled it in the store. And then the last one is You Fleur, which does have a little bit more floral, sweet, but not as sweet as the Rev. Hi, Cozy Adventures. So I got to the end of my video, didn't really get to talk about You Fleur by Glossier. I'm exploring all 4 of those fragrances today. And You Fleur, it also smells sort of like You without the pepper in it, but with this added, like, very lightly done floral. It's ylang ylang and osmanthus, but it also has apricot, making it a little sweeter. It's not a strong apricot smell though. And then it has cashmere, which gives this usually sort of warm, enveloping sort of smell. So I really like that. It's less sweet than the U Rev, but it does have a little sweetness. It's another one that I'm like considering getting more of, either a full bottle or a probably it would be a travel. But I kind of like Molecule 01 plus Iris more. And even though this isn't an iris perfume, it's got a similar sort of cozy but slightly floral skin scent. Sexy skin scent going, and I think I like Molecule 01 plus Iris better. I'd be curious to try Molecule 02. I wonder if it has a plus Iris, because then it would be more like this ambroxany scent. But anyway, I really like all four of these. They're not like super duper love, but I really like them and recommend them. And it's really cheap to just try them. It's $15. I mean, I guess that's not cheap for tiny samples for 15, but for me, that's like a good deal to get to really explore some new scents, and for it to be under $20 and not have to pay shipping and handling if you can go into Sephora. So yeah, musky skin scent, molecular, subtle. I wonder what I would smell like to someone else right now, because I have a bunch of those very like subtle scents on right now, and I don't know how it would like all come together. I guess it would really depend on who's smelling me, because some people are more sensitive to these molecules and some people barely smell them at all. So, at Cozy Adventures, I'm continuing on with my exploration of musks and molecules, and I already talked about Finery I'm a Musk, which I think might be discontinued, but you can definitely still get it on Mercari from someone secondhand if you're interested. And I've seen people, I haven't tried Le Labo Another 13, if that's what it's called. Let me see. Another 13, yeah, or Santal 33, but someone was describing it as being almost like a mix between those two. And people also bring up Glossier U, and Janie Has a Gun. Is that her name? Is that what it's called? Jane Has a Gun? I can't remember. Anyway, her Superdose musk, which is like just a super intense ambroxan, which I haven't smelled, but I think it's more complex than all of that, because it also has more of a sweetness than I think any of these. What it lists is like a cloud musk, or I can't remember, cotton flower. But it does have a little bit of that pickly thing. It did remind me a little bit of Thank You Next, Ariana Grande, that's sweet, but also has this kind of sour, pickly aspect to, I guess it's the sandalwood note that in some of these that goes pickly. I didn't smell that when I first smelled this, but now I smell it, and maybe it's because I got sensitive to it with Thank You Next. But anyway, I'm in between like really liking it and being like, ugh, it's a little too sour, especially in the beginning. But I figured out if I spray another musky fragrance that I haven't featured yet, Signature by Mont Blanc, on top of it or along with it, but it actually works right on top of it. A lot of fragrances, if I'm layering, I don't put them right on top, but this one does work. And this is a sweet, very powdery, very clean vanilla musk. And so when you add that to this brings a little more sexiness than this has, but this brings more, it sort of like sweetens up and cleans up that pickly smell. So together they make a sexy vanilla-y musk. I put it on my chest today. yeah, and it's subtle. I like it. Hi, Cozy Adventures. So I went on a field trip in upstate New York, an hour or so away from me, to the Maker, which is a boutique hotel, and they have a like cocktail lounge and a cafe, and they make perfumes. And I went with my friend Hadar, who's also developed a perfume hyper focus. And so we went, and it was fun because it was so fancy, and I am not living a fancy life most of the time right now, so it was fun to be sort of treated like, welcome, you know, let me show you to the blah 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 blah. Is everything to your liking, you know? And even in the cocktail lounge, a lot of the drinks are drinks with the same names as the perfumes, like meant to give a similar feeling. And their different rooms are scented like the different perfumes or candles they make. So all of that is super fun, and I definitely want to go back sometime. And I didn't buy anything then, but they got me because I'd signed up for a discount, like a 10% discount thing. You know how you have to sign up for emails and texts a lot of times to get discounts. So I did that, and I got a text that was like, we're discontinuing a few of the fragrances and doing an estate sale, 40% off or something like that. But I think the original price is like $180 or something like that for a bottle. And they're only 50 milliliter, I think, bottles. Yeah. So they're selling these for rather expensive. But anyway, they got me with the discontinuing. And so I picked Fire, which people, I think just because it's sweet but also smoky, people compare it to By the Fireplace, but it doesn't smell like By the Fireplace at all. It looks like pretty sexy hotel lounge wallpaper on the inside of the box, which is cute. And this smells like, I actually got out the fragrances to check today what was going on with it, but it smells like Gucci Pour Homme 2003, which I love, and Papyrus Oud, and the fragrances like that. Like there's a base of that with like a smoked, like almost barbecued cinnamon sugar on top. Hi, Cozy Adventures. So I was talking about the Maker and the full bottle I got, which is Fire, and the samples that I have. And the full bottle really reminds me of Gucci Pour Homme 2003 and the other fragrances that Michel Almarac made. But with, so, and all of those have olibanum, I think it's called, which is a resin. And I think that that's the thing that I smell that is in all of those fragrances at the base. Or this one actually puts it in one of the top notes. But yeah, it's a strong, depthful, resinous, balsamic-y smell. And then this on top of that, to my nose, has like a smoked cinnamon sugar, like a bunch of smoked, like almost like barbecue smoke, cinnamon and sugar on top. And juniper berry, which I smell, and it's very wintry. So if all of that sounds interesting to you, it's masculine leaning but still sweet, but unisex, and an interesting fragrance. It's not a Springer Summer fragrance, but it is fun. And it also has this like sort of smoking lounge smell, like a sexy smoking lounge. And then Dream is similar to Bianco Latte. Like that's what I first smelled when I sprayed it, was that DNA. The notes don't match the DNA, but that's what I smell. But on my skin, it did have a very different feeling than Bianco Latte. It felt muskier. It has a like magnolia. It says ethereal magnolia, but it does have a more ethereal, musky, floating and it's not milky. I don't think it has that in it. Oh, well, it says cinnamon butter. Yeah, I don't smell the cinnamon in it really. But yeah, I like it. If I could just get everything I wanted and cost didn't matter, I'd probably get a bottle of this one too. And then they sent Alias and Alias 2 samples, and those ended up really reminding me of Glossier. So Alias 1 reminds me of Glossier Fleur, but in the deeper dry down it does sweeten up because it has this like sweet rice milk thing going on along with the florals and the sandalwood. But the wear with Glossier Fleur and Glossier Dew is very similar to the wear of Alias 1 and Alias 2. The Dew, it has frankincense in both of them. They both have a similar feeling, but I like Alias 2 because in the deeper dry down, you get some spiced chai and some creaminess.